Today on TQA Weekly, I talk about NFC, what you can do with it, what it is, and how to protect yourself while you're using it. My name is Steve Smith, this is TQA Weekly, and if ever you have any questions, comments, suggestions at our PC Horror Stories, you can always email me at ask@tqaweekly.com. Go to my website, tqaweekly.com, and use the contact form, and of course, you can always leave a comments in the show notes, and of course, if you're on YouTube, blip.tv, Vimeo, or anywhere else I post to every single week, you can leave a comment down below. So, we're going to be talking about NFC. Near Field Communication, short for NFC, obviously. It is everywhere. It's available as tags, tokens, debit cards, credit cards, available in tablets, cell phones, some laptops, and even desktop PCs will be able to use NFC in itself. It is available as passive and active technology. It is a form of RFID, radio frequency identification, and in that also same cool factor, you can use NFC to actually invoke commands and requests for information, as well as getting certain things to unlock by proving that you are in fact the correct person that are supposed to be there. And you can also use it to keep track of various things around you using tokens. So it is basically a very common technology, and many people are using it and don't know they're using it right now because they just don't know what it is. And a few of these examples are PayPass, PayWave, and Interact Flash for all of us Canadians around here. Don't know if that exists outside of Canada, but in Canada we use Interact Flash on our debit cards. Now, considering it is a form of radio frequency identification, it is a relatively short range technology, even shorter than Bluetooth, requiring you to be inside a few centimeters, so basically under an inch in distance. It works in both passive and active modes. Basically, you always have an active machine, which the other device or card could be passive or active. It's up to the device that's taking the transmission and, of course, the user themselves. In commerce, we use credit cards and debit cards and other NFC-enabled tokens, sometimes devices with PayPass and PayWave machines as well as Interact machines, and that actually allows for contactless payment to actually occur. The technology is further made easier by the proliferation of these NFC tokens just about everywhere. So not just in your payment models, but also in these devices and your cell phone, whatever. So things like Google Wallet are now a thing. It's not just possible to use your tablet to actually pay for stuff, but some applications are perfectly capable of accepting payment through an NFC-enabled personal device by just contacting your card to the back of the machine. Now, obviously, this comes with a problem. This means that people can capture the information because it's going over the air. What some terminals have had done to them is the introduction of encryption over RFID communications for NFC. This slows down the speed of the transaction a tiny little bit. It jumbles up the information that nobody can capture it, but eventually it will be broken and we'll have to come up with stronger and stronger encryption as a result. Now, if you've gone to the store recently, you may have noticed also that things like Bluetooth headsets and some headphones and all these kinds of cool stuff have actually had NFC introduced into them. And this is because you no longer have to worry about synchronizing your tablet or phone to your headset. You simply need to touch them together. NFC will actually enable a Piconet, so Bluetooth network, to actually occur. A Piconet is any network that contains 7 slave devices to one master device, usually your cell phone, tablet, or computer. And this allows you to actually pair together your devices at short range. One of the biggest problems with Bluetooth is inside of the 30 feet where you could actually pair, people could capture that kind of information and actually intercept the signals. By using NFC instead, the range is much smaller. It becomes harder to capture that information. NFC tokens can also be used to replace bus passes, bus tickets, and even identify various other stuff, and they're fairly easy to use. If you have a NFC device and an NFC token, a card or whatever, you will notice that if you click it or put it to the back of your device, it will actually be read by your device. This is both cool and creepy simultaneously. Because one of the really neat things about NFC tokens that you can get now is you can't just use them for paying for your bus. You're going onto trains, planes, and other places, and even paying for your stuff inside restaurants and stores and gas stations. But you can also get these things to store commands for phones and tablets. Kind of like sending out text messages that could be used illicitly to get you to pay for text messaging that you did not want. That could be extremely expensive. Get your devices to do various tasks, hopefully limited by the applications and the platform from doing anything stupid that could compromise a machine. However, the possibility exists that while this cool technology can be used for greater good, it can be abused. So, which brings me towards the end of the show, because I don't want this to be too long. So first of all, we all know that, let's say this is your card. It could be read by anything in your pocket. So how would you protect yourself? Well, putting any token or card inside an aluminum device keeps it from being read. You can put it on aluminum paper if you want, by putting it inside any aluminum container, whether you built it or not. It will prevent the cards and tokens from ever being read by a device. And I just proved that this is in fact an NFC token. So once it's inside a container, it can't be read. If it can't be read, it can't be cloned. Because you could use this beside somebody's pocket to capture the information, if it's inside one of these kinds of containers, you can't actually in fact read them. As for your tablet, all you need to do to protect yourself is to close the screen. Closing the screen makes the NFC part of it actually not work. It just turns off. Otherwise, in Android, you go to Settings, you go to More, and then you just turn off your NFC. By turning off NFC, it is no longer possible to invoke commands inside, and you also can't capture any information in this case. But because nobody can invoke your tablet or phone to do anything, you're also further protected. So no accidental piconets transferring files, no accidental text messages costing you a whole bunch, and if you actually stored your cards and tokens inside aluminum, you can't have your cards read at all. If you don't have access to any of this stuff and you have multiple NFC enabled cards, putting them close together, one beside the other, will actually confuse the machines enough that they won't be able to read all the cards. They'll get gibberish information, and that may protect your cards as well. However, making sure that inside aluminum and making sure your tablets and phones NFC is off, or the screen is at least off, will prevent anything from happening. Thank you for coming back. I know last week I wasn't there. I took a week off. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. Share this episode with people you think would be interested in NFC and the fact that it can be cool, but you need to actually use it correctly. And of course, have a great day.